This week on Ticket Stubs, have you ever wondered what Alien would be like if it was set underwater? Well, ponder no longer, because here we have it. A sort of not so terrible, but nothing all that memorable type film either. It's 2020's Underwater. Hello, buddies.
Hello, my friends.
Hello, guys. How are we going?
Good.
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Feels fun to be recording on a Sunday. That's a bit different.
Hopefully we're still out of lockdown when this comes out.
I can only hope so. Good Lord.
If only this time you can stay away from the bat buffet, Ciarin.
Oh, you know me, them wings. Chicken of the cave. Isn't that what they call it?
Something like that, yeah.
But you guys doing well?
Very good. I got my nails done. I got a haircut. I feel like a person. Little less gremlin-ish. I'm more like, you know, that sexy she gremlin.
I don't know what you're
What?
talking
You've
about.
never seen... Have you ever seen the lady gremlin?
I don't think so.
Okay, you need to go... Okay, stop what you do right now and look it up.
All right. Dane, pause the
Lady
podcast.
Gremlin.
We're going to go watch whatever this is. But I'm good. I didn't get a haircut. All my nails done.
No nails done this time.
No.
No mani-pedi. Just a pedi?
Yeah, just a petty. I still need a haircut and I need a shave. But other than that, I'm good. Dane,
My
how you
haircut
doing?
was literally, I just went in, I was like, I want front fringe, please. Can I have one? And they're like, okay, you made an appointment for this. I was like, yes.
We're back to starters. We're doing your film this week.
Yeah, I did realise today, I was like, we accidentally did it in alphabetical order without realising it.
We're just that smart.
Yeah.
God, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, gosh, we're great.
And what another ripper of a film.
Kristen Stewart, Underwater.
I liked it.
Really?
You're jumping in.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know the first thing about it, and I really enjoyed it all the way through. But I mean, now that I've seen it, my kind of like, once the credit rolled, I was like, that was fine. It was well made,
Yeah.
but everything we've seen before.
I watched it, and then I watched it again for podcast purposes. Like so, you know, watched it, was like, oh, that was pretty good. Watched it again, and I was like, fuck, I'm bored.
Wow, I'm surprised. I thought you both would have liked this movie.
Initially,
I thought it was fine.
and on my initial watching, I was like, this is really good. And I tried to get Nick to watch it, and then, I watched it again to take more notes and stuff, and I was like, oh, man, now I gotta watch it again. I really struggled.
Yeah, it's a weird movie too. Because, like, I'd never heard of it. Dane, had you heard of it? Had you seen it?
No, I didn't know the first thing about it. Like, when Ciarin told us, I was like, oh, great, a Kristen Stewart movie. And I kind of held that prejudice of Twilight, because don't waggle your finger at me, Ciarin.
Kristen Stewart. I love Kristen
what a
Stewart.
national
Even
treasure.
Kristen Stewart, she genuinely reminds me of, like, Jodie Foster at that age.
Oh, yeah.
She's got that commanding screen presence. She's mysterious, but like, yeah, I just think she's cool.
Do you know who Jodie Foster is?
Yes.
She's from that movie Elysium, right, Dane? That great movie Elysium.
You sicken me.
No, I
was that kid too?
I don't know my actual opinion on Case Stew. I really liked it in Happiest Season, which was this Christmas movie from last year. And I don't even know what else I've seen her in, apart from Twilight. So, yeah.
She was in Tomorrowland or whatever it was. That one she was like a carnival worker.
No idea.
It was an indie.
No idea.
That's what made me like her. It was an indie film. I also, like, when she was a child actor, she was in Panic Room with Jodie Foster.
Okay.
The David Fincher movie.
Yeah. Which you're going to need to find one, Dane, if you keep talking smack about Kristen Stewart.
Whatever. You are like 4 foot tall.
I'm 5'5.5", and I'm still growing. Suck on that. Yeah, so Underwater, 2020 sci-fi action horror film by William Eubank. I think that's how you say his name. Is that what?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
It is?
Yeah. I never heard of him either when I looked him up.
Never heard of him before, but pretty good. We start with the opening titles, and which I really liked, which is why I'm including it in this, because we find out a lot about the movie. Like, it doesn't do that, stereotypical, like, having a conversation about the fact they're in the Marianas Trench. Like, they cut all that bullshit out with the opening titles, which I thought was bloody nice. Did you notice?
Yeah, I really like the opening credits too. I was pausing them every couple of seconds to try
See
and
what was up.
See if I was going to miss anything.
What did you think about it, Ryan?
I was going to say, I think it's funny that you both said you liked it, because I wrote that down as, I hate this. I hate the opening titles and I hate the end credit titles. Because I'm like, yeah, this is just like lazy world building. Rather than trying to work a clever way for a character to say it or something like that, it's just like, here is the information about our situation. We're in the Mariners Trench, dangerous.
Sorry, Ryan.
Yada, yada, yada. It's just like smacking you in the head.
You wouldn't happen to hold any prejudice over a quiet place.
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. We're talking about underwater.
We didn't see survive written on the wall.
But they didn't know they had to survive until they wrote it. So...
Yeah, that poor child couldn't read, didn't survive. But yeah, no, I thought it was good because it was a tight 80 minutes. So didn't want to waste any time, put it in the opening credits. So from that perspective, like, I understand what you're saying, Ryan, and I do agree if it was a longer movie, I'd be like, that was bullshit. But because it was only an hour and 20 minutes, I actually was kind of like, hey, you know what? This is great, because then you're not trying to write in, because the way that the movie starts and how quickly it gets into everything. Imagine if she was like to the other bloke that's there with her, like, oh my God, can you believe that we're in the Marianas Trench and there's all this stuff happen? Like, that wouldn't have worked. So I think for this one, in my opinion, it worked. So we find out that it's the deepest trench in the world, and that a company funded the construction of a massive drilling facility called the Kepler 822 for research purposes.
Oh my God. Are you saying there's nefarious reasons behind their drilling?
Oh, yes, and because this is a podcast, you can't see my finger quotes, my air quotes. Yeah, my We also see the words unexplained tremors and strange figures. So that sets the scene for the movie. And then we're soon gonna see the repercussions of drilling that deep into the earth. Oh
my God. Is this based on a true story, Ciarin?
I was there.
I thought so.
Anyway, so we're introduced to Nora, who is Kristen Stewart's character, one of the employees who is a mechanical engineer who barely gets the chance to brush her teeth before all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and there is one of the most important bits of character development in that movie is that she saves a spider's life. And that's her only bit of character development is that one shot.
So Kristen Stewart, I've got written here, Kristen Stewart's Nora is the same driven, no-nonsense leader ripped from the cloth of Ripley's personality from Alien, but not as good. That's what I wrote.
Yeah.
It's well, she even kind of channels Ripley from Alien 3 and shaves her head.
Yeah. I saw an interview with Kristen Stewart. That was actually her choice to shave her head for this role, actually. Because she wanted to, because like there's a lot of, even though they don't really delve into the character development a lot, there's a lot of emotional trauma that Kristen Stewart's character Nora is going through, and so she wanted to kind of reflect that in the fact that she shaved her head because she's not looking after herself, and she doesn't really care about her appearance because she doesn't really care about anything, as we kind of get. That's pretty much like her MO. Kristen Stewart's character doesn't care about anything.
She's very cynical.
Yeah, and she's very cynical, and she's kind of just on autopilot. Like, I think, like, making that comparison to Ripley from Alien, Ripley was driven and by the will to survive. Kristen Stewart's kind of on autopilot, and she's just kind of going with everything that's happening, like rather than actively being like, no, fuck you, I fucking hate aliens, like, you know what I'm saying? Picking up what I'm putting down.
I thought that kind of opening shot where like she was just standing around brushing teeth, and it was huge alien vibes, because she was all alone in this what we seemed at the time like to be this abandoned site. It was super ominous. It was like big space vibes, really isolated. So I liked the opening, and then of course, shit goes sideways, and walls start exploding and hallways start getting flooded. I thought it was a really good, tight opening.
Yeah,
scene.
it gets
I
right
also
into
agree.
it.
Yeah, I did like it because you're just kind of watching this character. I don't know. Obviously, do a bit of their daily routine, and then boom, the story starts, and we're straight into it. And then the events obviously just unfold from there, and the situation gets worse and worse. So yeah, it's a great opening scene. A little bit more on the alien thing too. Her obviously being in her underwear is probably a nod to Alien as well, as Ripley spent some of the movies in like just her top and her undies for some of it. Yeah. So yeah, this movie does obviously pay a lot of homage to Alien, the whole Alien series, really.
But yeah, so we're introduced to Kristen Stewart all alone. She clutches a ring on a necklace so that we all know that she's very sad because obviously the person that gave her the ring is dead or something like that. It's just, you know, very in your face, like, oh, she's sad about something.
She always looks sad.
And that's probably the thing that influenced her decision to work down on the bottom of the ocean. I'm always like, who the heck would take those kind of jobs in the first place? And that's probably somebody like that who's got a dead, you know, everybody's in their life is gone and they have nothing else to live for. May as well go to the bottom of the ocean, one of the loneliest places on the planet. So she doesn't even have time to put her bloody shoes on. And an earthquake strikes the station and it bursts the walls, water floods in, there's absolute chaos, and Kristen Stewart's trying to wake everybody up because they're all asleep, so she must be like early bird gets the worm type lady. Or, well, she does say, like, you don't even know when it's daytime or nighttime when you're down that deep. But yeah, so she's trying to wake everybody up, and she ends up ultimately having to seal the door shut because everything's flooded, and so that the rest of the facility doesn't get damaged. She locks the rest of the crew out and they drown to death.
She saves one of the members.
But yeah,
she finds on the way.
Yes, Rodrigo.
The only black guy that we see, just like Alien.
Yeah, true.
Also, when we get to it at the end, I have a bit of trivia about the barefoot scene as well.
Ooh, lovely.
Bit of sizzle.
But yes. I really liked all the chaos and the walls just exploding and the shit, because I thought at first it was going to be a dream sequence, and I hate dream sequences.
I hate that.
Because
very year 8 English.
There's no one else around. Yeah. There's a spider in the sink. They're at the bottom of the ocean, and I was like, well, that's just fucking bizarre. And then thankfully it wasn't a dream sequence, and shit, like I said, happens right away. It wastes no time in throwing you into it.
I think the first shot of the movie is like this big opening shot, which kind of shows how far down in the water we are. And so you kind of already had this understanding of the stakes and everything already, and then you get thrown into this, and it's flooding, so you know how far down she is. There's not really a way to get out. So, you already know. Tension's high. Shit's going down.
Yeah, stakes are high.
And just on the back of what I was saying with the whole dream sequence thing, in that opening credits where it's giving us really quick shots of exposition and whatnot, they're like, reports of, people seeing things and illusions and whatnot. So that, backed up my thought of, she's imagining this and blah, 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 why is there? Anyway, proceed.
So now Nora, or her last name's Price, so I'll either be referring to her as Nora or Pricey, throughout this. And Rodrigo, they're now navigating the busted and collapsed station, and she meets a few other survivors along the way, and also sees a lot of dead people. They do kind of allude to the fact that she's claustrophobic, but they never really get any further into that. Yeah. As well.
Yeah, there's always little hints of character development, but you never really get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she meets Rodrigo, the man-child Paul, and little Paul, the little bunny rabbit. That's a
TJ Miller.
TJ Miller.
For other reference.
Yeah.
Who I love in Silicon Valley. Like, it was such a shame he left that show. But, yeah, I had no idea he was in this. And he was fucking so funny. He's just sassing people left and right. And probably my favourite part of it.
I did think it was funny seeing him, because this movie was made so long ago. This was well before he got completely cancelled off everything. So
Yeah.
it was funny. I was like, oh, fuck, he's in this? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It like took me a while to get used to him. Because, yeah, like Dane, I really like him in Silicon Valley and I like him in Deadpool. But I was like, oh, okay, this guy. Right.
Yeah.
But he's a good... Yeah, he's an alright comedic relief that the movie kind of needs. Because the situation is so bad. You need someone like that.
It gives some levity.
Like Kristen Stewart finds him buried in rubble and digs him out, and then later on, he's like, "You dug me out of all the rubble for this?"
But yeah, surely I was like, he was literally like under like half of the building. Like, how are you not injured in some way? Like there was no like adding that extra. I guess the stakes were already really high, but like, you know, add a little bit more tension. We've got like, you know, a bloke with a bung leg. That there's always that one guy with the bung leg that's you got trying to help out. I thought that they would go like down that route or something. Who he's like, you know, the limpy boy who just cracks jokes constantly.
For whatever reason, he carries around a stuffed bunny the whole movie, and it's never explained. So it's just like, oh, isn't this quirky? Isn't TJ Miller a quirky guy?
I read somewhere that they told him that was going to be replaced with a CGI bunny, and then they decided not to put any CGI.
That's even weirder. Why would you do a CGI bunny?
Yeah, I actually was like, I'm so glad they made that choice because I would have hated this movie if there was a bunny involved in all of this mayhem.
Yeah. Yeah, what the hell?
Imagine having to put like a rabbit into like an underwater suit. Like
a tiny little underwater suit with little helmet.
Or like, you know, all they've got is like that little tiny window for their face and there's just like a rabbit sitting.
I'm just picturing Sandy from SpongeBob.
Yeah. So they also come across couple Smith and Emmeline, and they confirm that there is no contact with the surface. And then they also come across the captain, who he's injured, but he's all good because he's a tough bloke. And
that's Vincent Castles, who I love. I always enjoy seeing him in stuff.
He was great in this movie. Like, as much as I would say, like, Kristen Stewart, she did a really good job leading the movie. Like, she was still good. She did what she could with what she had. And, yeah, the captain was also really, really awesome, too. I really enjoyed his character.
I was going to say, I just thought everyone in the movie did a really great job.
Yeah. I did wish 100%. They used, like, John Gallagher Jr., who plays Smith, and Jessica Henwick, who plays Emily. Like, John Gallagher, you might know from, like, 10 Cloverfield Lane, where he is phenomenal in that. Just feel like he didn't do a whole lot in this. And then Jessica Henwick is from Iron Fist, which like she's the best part of Iron Fist. The rest of that is the biggest piece of shit show, but she is fantastic in that. And again, this, I'm like, I just wanted that little bit more from her. But a pretty solid little cast though. Like,
for sure.
Some damn good actors in there.
The captain has a plan to get them back to the surface because all of the pods in the part that they managed to get to, they're all gone. They've been deployed. So he's like, we've only got like 30 minutes until the underwater station implodes on itself. So they have to get to the main station called the Roebuck, which is the main part of the drilling facility. But problem, Nora points out, that's a mile further down than they already are and a mile further away across the bottom of the ocean. So just how the bloody heck are they going to manage to pull that walk off? And he calmly replies, we're just going to do it. We're just going to walk. No biggie. No wuckers.
Nike, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. So they have no better options. Time's running out, so they're like, all right, let's go on this dangerous journey, boys. Because they get in these massive heavy-duty armor suits, and thanks to a large amount of they do look really good.
They do.
And it was all practical effects they actually got in those things.
Gotta look.
I had two thoughts about the suits.
Yeah.
My first was that their scuba suits, they look sick, but it looks so much like Ryan, like Gears of War.
It does look like... Excuse me, only talking to Ryan about Gears of War. How very dare you?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm a gamer with a soft G, a Jamer.
But yeah, so they look like the Gears of War suits, and I love Gears of War. But also, I don't know if you noticed, on the back of the helmets, the tubing that straps around the back of the helmet, looks very identical to the face huggers when they
It does.
wrap
Yeah.
themselves around people's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Just more alien
And the
homage.
suits.
all
Like,
I could think of,
the suits have that.
get
alien
away
look
from her,
too.
you bitch. That's all I could think.
Yeah, really elevate it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And because, like, I like it too,
So-
because then they touch on, like, Emily's character is claustrophobic or doesn't want to get in the suits, and you can kind of see why.
Oh, she's
Because, like,
she's never been in one before, so she's like a scientist.
Mm.
So she doesn't go like the engineers, which I think most of them are. They're some sort of engineer. They are used to getting in the suits and walking around because they go on the outside and they fix stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's never actually like walked on outside in that before, and that would be bloody terrifying. Like having to do that
Yeah.
for the first time. The first time you do it, it's like if you don't do it, you're gonna die, and you might die out there. Like that's a hard no from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they all suit up. There's a lot of pressure has been built up, like in the actual facility and outside it, because everything is collapsing. So they get in this big boy elevator to go even further down, because as I said, they had to go all the way down to the ocean floor, which was another mile down. And this is where they start dropping like flies, because Rodrigo, he swapped his helmet with Kristen Stewart when they were getting ready for he wanted a clean one, I think it was.
Yeah.
Like he swapped him, or he had some sort of crack in his helmet, so it explodes him with the pressure, just crushes his skull.
Unreal. So quick.
A great first
Yeah.
death. He just explodes like a balloon that's been filled with red paint.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really liked it. It kind of reminded me of The Descent. Like, have you guys seen The Descent?
Oh, yeah. With the cave monsters.
Because
Yes.
yeah, with the cave monsters, but you for like a good 30-40 minutes, you don't actually get introduced to the cave monsters. And it's kind of reminded me of that, because you kind of think like, oh, they're probably going to get attacked by something now, like,
Yeah.
oh, what's happening? Like, something bad's bound to happen. It's been like 20 minutes, and it's nothing external that gets him. It's just his bloody suit wasn't well equipped.
Just a
for
bloody
the
dodgy suit.
pressure.
Bloody
Yeah, which I
budget cuts, am I right?
Yeah, am I right, ladies? Oh, that's an OH&S thing.
And
Work cover's
Oh my
going to be all
God.
over this.
Yeah.
But no,
And a shame, because I again, because we keep referencing this to Alien, I thought he was going to make it all the way through to the end. Because Alien, the first one, I can't remember the guy's name, but the black guy goes all the way through to the end with Ripley for that time, because the black guy is always the first to die in so many movies. And I was like, ah,
Immediate.
dang it.
but still, a great death.
No, I thought it was great. But even because first watching it, I didn't know that it was I hadn't seen a trailer or anything. I didn't know it was actually a monster movie. I thought it was just like an action movie. So first I was just like, oh boy, they're all gonna die because of the elements, or because they're underwater. And obviously that changes pretty quickly. Nora tries to stop them going down, because she did notice hey, wait, his helmet's doing something funky, but she can't stop it, and his helmet instantly kills him, and we're not off to a good start. So they go all the way down to the bottom of the ocean floor, and they start their trek, but they pick up a distress signal, which after some debate they feel kind of obligated to investigate it in case there's more survivors. So they set off to go see what's going on. So they send out Smith and Paul, so TJ Miller and the other bloke, and they arrive out on the ocean floor looking at this, looking out there. It's all hazy and misty, and there's all shit everywhere, and they find a body in the rubble, and a creature emerges from the corpse's back and just attacks him and just gets him.
Do I need to say it?
Say it.
Face hugger.
Just like the chest
Yeah.
burster
Yeah.
scene from
Yeah.
Alien. It's just fucking. This movie's just it's a wet Alien. This movie.
Hey, you guys like Alien? How about Alien Underwater? What do you think? You like that?
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
that?
Which, I mean, yeah, sure, great concept. I enjoyed the movie when I first watched it, but like I said, and I'll continue to say, after I'd watched it, I was like, okay, yeah, that's just a soggy
It
Alien.
is.
Like when they bring it in and put it
Yeah.
on the lab table, that is literally
It's
the exact
just
same.
like it.
Yeah, the exact same
Scene.
shot, reactions, everything. It's just
Ah!
Yep.
identical.
Yeah. So, as Ryan just mentioned, they kill the creature, they take it inside, and Havisham, which is the chick scientist who didn't want to go underwater, examines the creature and realizes that it belongs to a previously undiscovered species, which you don't really need. You just look at it just from... You don't need a scientist to tell you that's not fucking normal.
Yeah, you don't go, oh yeah, that's a fish. That's just salmon. Don't worry, God.
Yeah.
Like, you can see it's clearly not.
You ever heard of an octopus? Not one of those. Squid? Not one of those either. They just have a big picture chart of all the different types of fishies and they just cross them out.
they pull down like a little projector slide and he pulls out his little metal pointing stick and taps to every single discovered sea creature.
And Chris is just going,
No, it's not that one. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, so they come to another elevator on their journey, which is ripped up and open, and there's strange stuff just growing everywhere, which it actually reminds me, I don't know if you guys have played the Alien game.
Isolation.
It reminded me of that. So we're not just referencing the original Alien, we're now also
the whole universe
referencing, the whole universe.
Yeah.
So there's strange growth all over the walls. The employees on board this part of the station, they're all long dead, but they're given a really even bigger surprise than before, that there are eggs on the wall, and one hatches and it just launches a meter-long worm creature at them, which they're able to take out, and that's all good. And it kind of implies that the drilling was the cause of all of this stuff. They start to mull over in their brains like, oh, maybe this is our fault. But they have no choice. They're kind of too far into it now. They kind of have to continue towards the pods.
Yeah, because they can't go back because the place where they've come from is still collapsing. And that's kind of the only way to get out, is to keep going forward into this nightmare.
I appreciated that the movie wasn't too heavy-handed with its whole environmental message, because they're kind of like, oh boy, did we do this from drilling too deeply? And I'm like, I guess so. And then that's sort of it. They don't bang on about it for too much longer. They're like, all right, yep.
TikTok, we gotta go.
At least exactly. doesn't look at the camera and go, look what underwater drilling can do.
Yeah.
Don't you dare do it.
So they make their way across the seafloor, but as they're walking, the Kepler explodes above them, so where they just came from, it all explodes and nearly buries them in debris. Smith is hit, and Nora and the captain save him, and they get through an access tunnel to like an intermediate station. And they're traveling. However, Smith's oxygen scrubber, I don't know what we're going to call it, his oxygen tank is damaged. Yeah. His oxygen tank is damaged from the debris. So on their way through the access tunnel, Paul is attacked by an unknown creature. Well, it's not really unknown because we kind of know what it is now. It's just one of those angry mermen. And he's dragged underwater, and he's like pulled through his suit basically, and there's just another inside explosion of blood and guts in his suit. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. I thought that was a cool death scene.
Yeah. There was a part where I laughed at where they're trying to navigate through the debris, and sort of everyone's going through, and they're not really sure if they can go to the other side, and Kristen Stewart's like, I'll go first. I'm the smallest. Yeah. And you're all wearing these giant fucking scuba suits.
Yeah, no. I did laugh at that bit as well, Dan. Yeah. So like, that literally makes no sense.
Good. No sense. But yeah, a shame, because I love TJ Miller, and a brutal death, because he's screaming that it's on the other side of the debris, yanking at him. And they're trying to hold on to him, and another red pasty boy.
Turn into a smoothie.
I kind of wish that scene had a little bit more tension. I don't know. I don't know what you guys thought, but I was like, I have no tension, like, at all. Like,
it just happens.
Yeah,
like, really fast.
It just comes out of nowhere, and like, it'd be really good if maybe we didn't see the creature before, and then two guys, TJ and the other guy, are like, oh shit, maybe there is something here, and then you see it get closer and closer, and then kablammo.
Yeah, it just happens. Like, he's just there, and then he's not. Like, there's no lead up to it. But I guess they're trying to be like, oh, if they don't stand a chance, they don't know what they're up against.
Yeah. I almost kind of wish too, like, I know we already, like, we see the creature in that previous scene, I wish we didn't see the creature then. I wish we didn't see it now. And then a little bit later, you get to see him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
that would be cool.
Once we kind of get to this next bit, I think the camera work and everything falls apart, and I don't know what the hell's going on. And then they introduce all these creatures as well, and I'm like, okay, I've got no idea what the hell's going on now.
Yeah, it was so strange, like the camera work, what you were saying, because it's for when they're crawling through the debris, it goes into like a handheld for a brief minute, and then it just goes back. And, like, it just seemed like such an irrelevant choice to do.
Like that shot in The Hobbit with the GoPro.
Oh god, that still pains me.
Yeah.
To this day. Yeah. It's one damn shot in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's like, why'd you keep that in? So before the team leaves to go back out into the ocean, they find that Smith's damaged oxygen will cause him to suffocate from the explosion's toxic fumes or there's some sort of issue. He's not going to make it across. So, but they're like, you know what? We're not going to leave you behind, bro. We're going to help you. So they all decide to help him walk across. So they discover the strange worms. So they're the worm boys. They're angry mermen with fang-filled mouths. They're popping up all over the shop. The four set across. They keep walking, but a humanoid creature appears and drags Smith into a cave. The captain is like, no, you won't take my boys. So he tries to help, but he's pulled away. But Smith is saved, and Nora tries really, really hard to help him, but he sacrifices himself to spare her from the increasing differential pressure, I guess, because they're going deeper and deeper down into this cave. So he lets her go, but then his suit explodes, so she ends up just being like, pew, and into the middle of the ocean, which so it's kind of like,
That's
was that a good, would you rather, like, do you want to come all the way down with me and die here, or I'll just explode and you'll get blasted into the middle of nowhere?
Yeah. He nearly launches to the surface.
Yeah.
He was nearly safe.
But now, so Nora's in the abyss, but she's still alive after that
chilling.
explosion, but her suit is malfunctioning. But she manages to make her way to another waypoint, which is the Shepherd Station, which is another abandoned section of station. Which I'm like, where are there? So there's other bits, and they don't look like they've been. So they must have all escaped in those escape pods. But she's not coming across any more survivors or anything like that. And she rummages through a locker, and she finds a pentagram drawn on an old blueprint of the initial drilling site, which I found confusing because there's not a lot. Like,
So
there was
did I.
that drawing. Yeah.
Is that the worst
There was
graffiti
that
ever?
drawing. Yeah, because there was that, like, drawing. If you guys recall, when they're getting ready, there's that mural that somebody, I don't know why that was there.
I couldn't find anything about it. I was trying to look up what it meant or what it was alluding to. Came up with nothing.
Yeah, so I don't know who did that and who did this pentagram or anything like that, but my name is confused.
Oh.
So
I don't know about you
so
guys, but did you guys, like, are you guys really confused up to this point? Like, I think that whole last scene you were talking about, Ciarin, is the most confusingly shot thing in the world. Everything is dark.
Yes.
You can't see anything. Then you get close-ups of people's faces, and then people are just getting dragged around. And then Stu just
I didn't know
appears
who would survive.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm just like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I didn't really. Yeah, I just knew that Stu got blown away into the water, and the old mate was dead. That's all I really deduced from that. And then we get this confusing blueprint with a pentagram on it. I was like, is the devil in the ocean? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And yeah, so she manages to wrangle enough stuff together to change her damaged diving suit before continuing toward the roebuck. And not long after that, she stumbles across a few familiar faces. Emily and the wounded Smith, who she's still dragging across the ocean floor because love just doesn't matter. They're in love. Young love just got to power on through. That's the power of love.
It's
Am
the
I right,
secret.
ladies?
Interstellar. Interstellar Part 2.
Yeah. Electric Boogaloo. So, and Emily is completely losing it. Like, she's like, I can't do it. Oh my god, what the hell's going on? She's on the bottom of the ocean dragging a dead guy, which it probably would have been easier for her if she wasn't dragging him, but whatever. But now Nora is determined. She's like, I'm going to get these two crazy lovebirds out of here if it's the last thing I do. And so they're like, hey, let's go. So they enter the roebuck. They finally get there. We made it, boys. We made it to the destination. They enter the roebuck, which you probably wouldn't even know it's the roebuck if you weren't reading a synopsis like I am. Because they're not very clear on where we are or what's happening. So they enter the roebuck. They encounter a nest of the creatures suspended from the ceiling right above the entrance of the tunnel, just to really hammer it in that the drill problem this whole time.
Yeah. And again, just more like Alien when Ripley comes across the fucking nest of 1,000 eggs. Yeah. Nora's come across, the hive where there's 1,000 dangling tadpole mermen just hanging from the roof. I like the effect of it because it just was like seaweed, algae kind of thing, but the stuff that'll kill you.
Yeah. The look of them was really cool, and the way they worked out of their pods and things. Yeah, it all worked really well.
So they show up, they're all hanging from the ceiling, but luckily for them, they're all down for a merman nap. So they just have to be real bloody sneaky, and they all get through. So yeah, they're tippy-toeing through, but the sound of the sound of the chick's oxygen alarm awakens the creatures, leading to a big old fight.
I thought that was great, where it was trying to swallow Nora whole, and its teeth were scraping over her face mask and everything, and that was intense. I thought it was really good.
So she does.
Favorite bit of the movie. Get rid of the rest. Keep this 10-minute sequence. It's really good.
So she gets swallowed whole, but good thing for her, she grabs some flares back at the shepherd and shoots the boy from the inside and blasts through him and rips herself out of there. But oh wait, she just woke them all from their merman nap, so they're screwed, and all of the mermen are awake, and they're coming after him. But wait, there's even more, because she lights off another bloody flare. She's like, pachoo, pachoo, and we see that they're screwed on a whole new level, because there's a whole swarm of them, and they're attached to a tentacle of even bigger monster, and apparently these are all creature babies who have a big old mummy creature. They're all coming to get him.
Yeah, this humongous sea creature that they all kind of live off. Kind of wakes up and starts moving towards them, which I think looks freaking awesome. That is such a good looking monster.
You guys know what the monster was?
Yes, it's Cthulhu, because that's what I've got written here.
I know.
So, based on Cthulhu, he's got a massive tentacle face and wings. And yeah, it looks like our good old friend, the ancient evil god Cthulhu, who was first introduced by H.P. Lovecraft. Have you guys ever read any of Lovecraft's stuff? Or are you familiar with Lovecraft, or just like the big boy things that he's really famous for?
Familiar. I would love to read some of his stuff one day.
I'm on the base level type of thing. Don't know too much.
My top pick, which is a short story that he wrote in 1918, which I think you boys might like. It's very tense. It's called The Beast in the Cave. I read that when I was like 12, and it bloody spooked me. I hate caves, that's part of the reason why. And that one, it's a really effective short story. Just a little background. I got a little background on Cthulhu here.
Oh my
goodness. Cthulhu's from the Call of Cthulhu, which is H.P. Lovecraft's story. So it's an ancient evil god that hibernates in an underwater city, and he's one of many ancient gods referred to as the Old Ones. And Cthulhu and all these gods are said to be the source of anxiety for mankind at a subconscious level, who is also worshipped by other humans and stuff who are all into that freaky shit. And it definitely seems that the crew has drilled into his home beneath the ocean and awakened him or her.
Well, on the back of your Cthulhu trivia, it said that Cthulhu is awoken through an earthquake at the bottom of the ocean, and that's how this god thing, comes to Earth, because obviously the drillings ruffled his feathers, and here he comes to stomp some balls.
It's like, I've got company coming in the morning.
Oh my god!
Keep it down. But yeah, so it's sort of like a surprise Lovecraft movie in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
It's,
And I didn't expect there to be like a whole big monster. I thought it was maybe going to be the one, and then gradually you see there's more and more and more.
yeah.
Yeah, I was really into it, but then like as much as I love the idea of Cthulhu, I was like, oh, okay, this is silly.
Yeah.
Like it was already getting silly, but now this is full blown silly.
Yeah, just full blown silly.
I wasn't expecting a big monster, but I assumed, like, I kind of thought the movie was going to lead up to it, and then one of the mermaid men was going to get in the building that they're in, and it was literally just going to be Alien at the end of the movie. Like, I just assumed that was the way it was going to go. Like, she was going to get through the nest, get inside, and then somehow breaks in, and then she's going to have to fight this thing, and maybe sends that out in the escape pod or whatever. But then, this big Cthulhu comes out of nowhere.
But nothing really eventuates to it either. Like, it's kind of like the person who, like, the director and the writers and stuff like that were like, we really like Alien and we really like Lovecraft. Let's make that. Oh, and the big reveal is that it's Cthulhu. Like, that's what it felt like, because nothing really comes of it. Like, they don't fight it.
Yeah.
They don't do anything apart from go, oh no! And then they have to try and escape. So, escape won't be so simple as we have just seen, because Cthulhu's fucking rocked up. And then, to put a cherry on top of this shit sundae...
Oh, delicious, man. I have two.
Nora!
Imagine that, like, it's summer, and, like, the Mr. Whippy van pulls up.
Can I have one?
And the kids are running, and you're like, here.
But yeah, so back to the movie. Nora realizes that one of the 3 remaining pods, which if you're good at maths, there's 3 survivors left, so we need 3 pods.
We do need 3 pods.
Ladies, men, and non-binary friends. It's damaged, meaning someone's going to have to stay behind. Nora insistently shoves Emily and Smith into their respective pods. I would say this is just me, like, trying to reach here, but she's like... Because we've talked about her ring and the necklace, and she's obviously lost somebody, and she kind of brings up, like, a little bit that she had, was she married? Was that the whole...
I don't think it was ever clarified.
No.
I don't remember there being really much clarification on what her heartbreak and emotional breakdown was about. Like, I don't know if he left her or if he died or what the go was.
Didn't he die in a diving accident?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah, he died.
There was
something like that,
little like throw off line that he died in some accident for some at some point in this movie.
Yeah, something like that.
There was that little bit of character.
So I think she's like, oh, love always wins. You two are going up in the pods. So she sends them up, and she punches Emily in the face to kill her the heck out to get her in the pod.
Emily's
like, no, the pod's broken, and she's like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was great. Very, very badass moment.
Yeah. So she then sends them shooting towards the surface and freedom, which our giant merman pal ain't too happy about. Unleashing a swarm of his little merbabies upon the pods, and they're gaining on them quickly. It's just Nora in her undies at this point, left alone. Also, I'm gonna oh god, I have something to say about this too. In a brave sacrifice, Nora turns the stored energy in the drill in on itself, creating a massive explosion that consumes the entire horde as well as the mother Cthulhu creature thing, allowing the pods to get to the surface safely. And she says, what is it? Like, let's blow this shit up, or let's blow this bitch up?
Yeah, something along those lines.
It was so...
No, let's light this shit.
Yeah, that was fucking lamest line ever. Yeah. Like, if I wasn't lost already, that really just sealed the deal, and I was like, okay, terrible.
It wasn't the greatest line, but I like that she kind of went out on a badass note. Like, it wasn't like her looking out at Cthulhu being all sad she's about to die. She's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
See you later.
I'll try and take him down too.
Which, if you've read that story by Lovecraft, when you explode Cthulhu...
Is this spoilers?
No. There's do you? Am I fine to spoil H.P. Lovecraft's The Call of Cthulhu for you?
If you don't want spoilies for the book, maybe shut your fucking ears.
Yeah, but if
For a hot minute.
you explode Cthulhu, he just comes all back together and he regenerates. So
Oh,
Yeah.
not a spoiler at
It
all.
wasn't like a good
Yeah, so-
sacrifice either.
yeah, so like going off that, like it was kind of that
Oh.
sacrifice kind of like for nothing, I guess, because he's just gonna he's a god. I doubt an explosion's gonna do anything, and two, if they're basing it off of the actual Cthulhu, he's just goes, oh yeah, well watch this, and it's nothing.
Just regen.
Yeah, just regen.
Maybe Case Stu's plan was
so-
to kill him off secondhand embarrassment of
Yeah.
that one-liner she did.
Yeah.
Or maybe right before she says it, and then she turns around and there's one last survivor there, and they're like, oh, that's fucking awkward. And she's like, no one will ever know.
You're coming down with me.
But okay, I haven't really brought up a lot of umbrage in this episode, but I take umbrage with this. If she's dead, how the fuck is she telling the story?
Yeah, because it's her voiceover throughout, isn't it?
It's her voiceover throughout it. So how is she telling the story if she's fucking dead?
She left a very
I
detailed
don't-
voice memo before she blew herself up.
Yeah.
Let me just
That's
recount
it.
my last 12
That's-
hours.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess I had an English teacher, because year 8 English where you write like, and I woke up and it was all a dream, or you write something but turns out the person is dead. How can they tell the story if they're dead? Bad storytelling, sir. Didn't enjoy that. But there is an alternative ending. Did you know?
I did not
I
know.
did not know.
Please tell, if you know.
So there is an alternative ending to this movie where she gets in a pod, like she manages to fix it, and she goes up and she survives.
Oh,
Probably not as
I don't know what.
climactic, I guess. Just being like,
Yeah,
oh, wait,
I think
I'm a
that's
mechanical
that's
engineer.
why they.
I can fix this, and then goes over, tinkers with some wires, and then
Yeah,
shoots away.
that's it. So and then we see in the end credits, much like the beginning credits, that they're not quite done with it, despite the setback of their entire facility being blown up and many billions of dollars being blown up. But they're still quite determined to get back into drilling, and the survivors kind of say they're not allowed to talk like to the media and stuff like that. I noticed.
all cover-ups everywhere.
Yeah, cover-ups
this
everywhere,
company.
and they're determined, but they're determined to get back to drilling, which makes you kind of think like, are they hoping to encounter these sea monsters again? Do they like wasting money, or at least do they want to learn more about what the heck is going down in the mysterious Mariana's Trench? I don't know. And like,
In Cthulhu myth, Ciarin, what's the point of it? Is it just like they wake him up because he's a god, and then they just like bow down to him? Is that like what their plan
No,
is when they get him
Cthulhu-
out, or they?
Cthulhu's known as the World Ender. So when he's awakened, he wakes up and his MO is to destroy the world, and he's like a world eater basically. He'll just a mass extinction event. I don't know if you guys have noticed in Rick and Morty they have Cthulhu.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's because
In that
Always
opening.
at the end of the opening credits.
yeah, it's because like they're likening Rick to Cthulhu in that he destroys worlds and destroys universes and stuff like that. So yeah, they don't wake Cthulhu up for a reason. They wake it like he is awakened and he's gonna end everything basically. And like I said before, he's an ancient evil god, so if they're gonna be drilling back down there again, they're gonna run into him because blowing him up doesn't really do anything.
And that's pretty much underwater.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. But yeah, so like I said, I've got a sneaking suspicion that Cthulhu's still down there waiting for these dumbasses to start drilling again. It seems to only be a matter of time based on the end credits.
Well, yet another movie that's less than an hour and a half and a super small cast.
Yeah.
Really on a roll with this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to do a blockbuster for
We
my
really
choice.
are.
One with the
Ooh.
biggest cast of all time.
Yeah. Schindler's List.
But I can't wait for Underwater 2 when it's Underwater 2 versus Pacific Rim. And they send the Jaegers down there to
Yeah.
fight. Cthulhu. Yeah, that'll be fun to
No,
see.
it's Cthulhu versus the Meg. Jason Statham.
Oh god, that'd be good.
So what are your thoughts? What do you think? Well, do you have any trivia for me? I guess I can kind of start off with, so it's sort of like the forgotten child of 20th Century Fox. It was filmed in 2017, and it might be because of like that Disney reshuffle with Fox
Yeah, the
and
merger.
everything like that.
Yeah.
And they released it in possibly the slowest time of the year in January, and it kind of got overshadowed by 1917 coming out.
Yeah. January is where movies go to die. They put them out there because they know
Yeah.
they're not going to do well.
Yeah.
And then...
Have you guys seen the Red Letter Media sketch of "Fuck You, It's January"?
No!
I've seen it.
Yeah, they just
Sums it up.
They just talk about all the movies getting released in January that's going to flop, and like, "Fuck you, it's January."
Yeah.
And it's just it's the movie graveyard,
Yeah.
essentially.
Came in at less than 10 million over its opening weekend and joins the other recent, like, January Fox flops that have come out in the wake of the Disney takeover. So it's in the little Fox graveyard of movies that they left to die.
God, they're bad.
And yeah, it doesn't really mean that it's a bad movie, but it's also not a great movie. So you can kind of see why it slipped under everybody's radars, I guess, because it is it's kind of satisfying. It's action packed. It's a bit of a thrill ride if you don't think about it too hard, and it hits the ground running, and it like never backs off. Like it just keeps going and going, and there's amazing set pieces and amazing practical effects and stuff like that. It just kind of was a bit shit. In some bits.
Yeah.
It had all the recipe bits there. It's just they thought they were making, I don't know, a cake when they were trying to actually make a souffle.
Yeah, they had too many ingredients for like too many different things, and it just didn't mesh as well. Like, I mean, like I said in my intro, it wasn't terrible, but it certainly wasn't a super memorable film.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of forgot about it, and like as soon as I finished watching it, except for that one shot when Cthulhu's first seen. Like, that's the only bit of that movie that stayed with me, is how good that looks. I think this movie's got a few major problems. I just think the worst thing is the characters. I just don't care about any of them. I didn't even know that the Emily chick and that other guy were in a were in a couple until they're like, oh my god, they're together. Like, they say it in some one-off line. And I'm like, oh, okay, these guys are together. Okay.
Yeah.
We just don't have any development from there. If I gave a shit about any of these people, I might care about the movie more, but it just had nothing. Had nothing for me, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that works well because, it's a tight, 80, 90 minutes, and the action's, like, it doesn't go on too long to be exhausting, and it's not too long to be boring. Like, there wasn't a point where I was like, oh, fuck, get on with it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is enjoyable. But that's all it really was. Like, I was reading that it cost $80 million to make, and it only made $40 million worldwide.
Oh, God.
The director, he's directed the latest Paranormal Activity, which we were talking about last week.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be watching that, but I guess the thing we kept comparing it to Alien, and everybody, like, across anything you read or watch compares it to Alien. But I guess the biggest difference is between this and Alien is you actually give a shit about the characters in Alien.
Oh, I just kind of assumed what was going to happen is that, like, we have that really cool opening where the movie gets going, and then I kind of thought they would all come together, and then that scene in Alien when they're all around the table, even when the guy's got the chest burster in him and they're just chatting, and you get all their characters through that little scene. I just thought it was going to be something like that, where like the captain is a bit of a dick because he's in the commanding role or something like that, and then Case Chief stands up for herself in that scene, so you get that she's a strong person through that, and like all these other things, but there's just nothing like that. It just kind of moves too quick for its own good. It just like needs to almost take a second.
It's like every little bit of character we get, it's like, all right, you got that, on to the next thing. We've got mermen to get away from. But just what you were saying then, Ryan, about like the whole Alien, everyone sat around chatting. So the part where in Alien, where they first have the chest, where they get the chest burster and they're poking and prodding at it and blah, 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 blah. And then in this movie, when the disaster has first happened and everyone's together and they've got the blueprints out and the captain's like, okay, we're going here, this is where we're going. They used a whole bunch of sound effects from Alien for that scene.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they took a whole bunch of little sound effects specifically from that Alien scene and put it in this scene.
Nice.
There you go.
That's really cool.
Which, is just... it's great that the director was such a fan of Alien, obviously, that he's a very passionate fan about it, but just making a pretty mediocre cut and paste doesn't really...
Is that the reason he set it underwater?
Yeah.
Is because he's like, well, if I set this in space, this is literally Alien.
Maybe.
He's like, oh, well, let's do something a bit
Have to
different.
be.
Let's put it underwater.
But yeah, I think I mentioned before so the suits were practical effect. So they actually got in the suits. They shot it in New Orleans, so apparently it was actually like absolutely horrible shooting the movie because one, it's New Orleans weather, so it's hot, it's humid, it's gross. Then they're in the suits, which adds extra weight on your body, and it's hot, and even hotter and stickier, which is also part of why Kristen Stewart suggested shaving her head, because she thought the character would constantly be struggling getting in and out of the suit and getting hair in her face. So she was like, we'll just shave her head because she's a practical lady, so she has no hair. And yeah, like I said, she also thought it would reflect how the character wasn't taking care of herself, which Kristen Stewart, in watching her interviews, she kind of explains like the character and her motives, but the main motive of the character is she just doesn't really give a shit about anything because she's depressed. And that's her main character motivation, is that she's kind of just running on autopilot and going with whatever's happening, and then she gets that last ditch inspiration to
sacrifice herself.
Do the thing. Sacrifice herself.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's a good movie inside this movie.
Yeah.
Like there's good ideas. The budget.
It's like a first draft of a script.
Yeah,
exactly. There's good elements there. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of it just falls flat.
All the Lovecraft stuff, it's kind of like they had the Lovecraft thing in there, and then they're like, oh shit, we kind of need to include some Lovecrafty hints into it with the pentagram and the mural and stuff like that. I just wish that there was more of that through it didn't really, like, it was kind of like, oh, it's Cthulhu. I didn't really see that coming. Like, I genuinely didn't see it coming. But I would have liked there to, like, you know, if it was, because, you know, it's, you think of things like A Quiet Place or even like Shutter Island, where they're made for multiple viewings because there's just things throughout it that you can
little clues
pick and
Easter
see.
eggs and things.
Yeah, that kind of hint to the ending. I guess it would have been nice for them to do something like that because it was kind of a surprise ending. It just felt like the things that they did include were like a last ditch effort to kind of be like, hey, we meant to do it like this.
Yeah, a little bit of trivia that I wanted to bring up is it's a little bit interesting when at the very start and Kristen Stewart's brushing her teeth and the room starts to explode. She wanted to run through the debris barefoot, as we see, and the director's like, no, you're going to tear your feet to smithereens, and so they made like a putty cast of her foot and painted over it. So she's just wearing rubber shoes that look like her feet throughout it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's there.
Yeah.
That's
just
a bit
like
cool.
I know how much you have a foot fetish, Ciarin, so...
Oh, I hate feet. Keep it on my way. But yeah, so I guess how many thumbs up we're giving this movie? What would you guys give it in thumbs up?
Well, considering I have 2 thumbs, I would give it 1 because it's passable.
Yeah, I'd give it a 1 thumb.
Yeah, I was going to say.
1 thumb.
Maybe, 1 thumb.
Maybe a half.
Oh, you got, half a thumb?
Yeah, like a sideways thumb, maybe. But did you guys have any good reviews for Underwater? What did you have, Dana?
You can go first.
I'll go first. I've got 2 reviews. I feel like maybe all 3 of us came across this review, but it says, The Abyss meets aliens with a bit of Poseidon adventure and a lot of Pacific Rim and a dash of the Meg in this subquatic sci-fi that offers nothing more than the sum of its references. I'm like, yeah, okay. A little harsh, but fair. Totally fair. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was, to its credit, perhaps Underwater doesn't hang around long enough to become boring. 2 out of 5. I'm like, yeah, okay. Both are accurate and just reviews.
I've got one here that says, the murky cinematography further hinders a picture that looks as though it was shot through raw sewage. 2 out of 5.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. I've got a very similar one as well. I got it from Letterboxd, 2.5 stars from Jacob. You've seen this movie before, but the key difference is now that it's much harder to see what's going on.
Yeah, there were a few too many scenes where you really couldn't tell what was happening.
Yeah.
And if you took them out, the movie would be an hour long, I guess.
Yeah,
got to keep them in there to pad out the runtime, I suppose. But
yeah.
Do you guys have any recommendations? So if someone likes a movie, they'll like Underwater.
Yeah, we've touched on it plenty. Obviously, Alien, The Abyss, James Cameron's Abyss, which is just a great little underwater thriller. This is basically the love child of Alien and Abyss. So, yeah, it was fine. I certainly wouldn't put it up there as something I could recommend to too many people. But if someone would be like, "Hey, have you seen Underwater?" I was thinking about giving it a go. I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." It's an hour and a half. You'll go for the snacks.
Yeah.
Settle in.
What about you, CC?
Yeah. I have down, if you liked The Descent, which I brought up earlier, I kind of compared it. You would like Underwater. It's claustrophobic. There's monsters. There's people get killed in interesting ways. I think that's a good one. If you liked The Descent, then you'd like this. Although The Descent is markedly better than Underwater.
Better, good lord.
The Descent is terrifying.
It is, yeah.
But I love you guys. I can see why we're friends, because I literally had The Abyss and The Descent. So
Hey!
either The Abyss or The Descent, even though both those movies are better, you still might like Underwater, I think.
Yeah, there you go. And I've got one more question for you boys, which you haven't done recently, but have you guys watched anything this week that you'd want to tell everybody about?
Oh my goodness. Well, mine's not a movie, but I've been catching up on Money Heist.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's a Spanish show on Netflix, super popular Spanish show. I'd watched all of the seasons up till the latest, but my partner hadn't, so we decided to rewatch all them, and they were almost fully caught up to date. But I think I saw a spoiler the other day of the end of this season, so that's a bit frustrating. But Money Heist is fantastic. It's if you like bank robber movies, heist movies, that's the whole show. It literally is just heists. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's a great time.
Groovy. What about you, Dano? Have you watched anything cool recently?
Similar to Money Heist, I've just caught up and finished the latest season of Animal Kingdom, which is a great little the series, not the movie, but a great little heist series as well. And along with everyone else, I've now seen Squid Game.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
I had a good time with Squid Game. I thought it was a good old time.
Yeah, it's a great show, amazing show.
What about you, Sissy?
So I've been on a bit of a found footage horror kick the past few weeks.
Oh my god, my favourite.
So I've recently watched The Taking of Deborah Logan, and I think it was like a really good revival of the found footage genre. I really enjoyed it anyway. I think we should have a look at that one day in the future. I think we've all kind of got a few ideas of what we're going to be watching over the next few weeks, though. So that'll just have to add to our never-ending and ever-growing list.
Ciarin,
but
is it good? Like, because I'm a big found footage fan as well.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I haven't watched it again, like recently, because I kind of want to rewatch it for the pod. But I thought it was really cool. Yeah, it went in a direction that I wasn't expecting it to go, and it was genuinely like spooky, and it was just good. It was a good film. I really enjoyed it. So if you want something a bit different and found footagey, it's good, and it's not as motion sicknessy as the Blair Witch Project, which is always nice.
That's fun.
So Dane,
well,
it's your turn to pick.
Oh my goodness.
It is my turn to pick. I've been toing and throwing, hemming and hawing and hemming about which movie to pick. Just very indecisive. I had like 4 movies in mind, and I narrowed it down to 2, and I was kind of tossing enough, and it was a choice between either a really good movie or something that was pretty cheesy and not that great from the 90s. We've mentioned it before. I mentioned it specifically. It's New Jack City with Ice-T and Wesley Snipes.
I'm excited.
And Chris Rock is in it for a little bit as well, referencing back to Spiral, that god-awful movie, in which he references this specific movie.
Oh, well, but, I've never seen it. So,
keen to watch it.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Me either. Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've watched it, but I'm keen to relive the silliness of it.
Awesome.
There you go. Well, boys, the sun is setting on this beautiful Sunday, so thank you for watching Underwater with me.
No worries.
Oh, thanks for the recommendation.
It was okay.
Good job.
Well, I'll see you boys next week then.
You will. Take care, buddies.
Ta-ta.
Bye.